when he came up to me, he said he's not stopping me. So I just wanted to, and there's 3 cops here. So can I get all your perspectives and have a friendly conversation with you guys without any animosity or hatred? You know, I just want to know what a Terry stop. So the other day I was at Starbucks. The security officer asked me for what I was doing there, and I told her it's none of her business. And then Officer DeSpain came up, and I read him the riot act. Sorry about that, man. You know, you're a human being. I just don't understand. And he said this is not a Terry stop. It just so happened I was down here at the Tempe courthouse, and then I saw Officer DeSpain again, and I wanted to just ask him, what did you mean by that? Because a lot of people asked when you said this is not a Terry stop.
What I was saying was I hadn't stopped you. I walked up, and you started talking to me.
Right. But the police had been called on me. She said, I'm calling the cops on you. So then I didn't want to flee the scene because I don't want to run from the police. You know, guns go faster than I can run, and so do the radios. So then I stayed, and then when you came up to me, I said, hey, you should charge her with making a false police report. And you said something, and I said to my audience, I said, this is a Terry stop, and you said, this is not a Terry stop. So if you interact with me, if these guys walk up to me and you interact with me, isn't that a Terry stop?
Not necessarily. So like today, I was walking away from you, and you started talking to me.
Right.
That officer.
Right. Right.
Okay, so we had an interaction, right?
This is a consensual encounter where I'm agreeing to speak to you, you're agreeing to speak to me, I'm a citizen, you're a police officer, and so he's giving me information. Right, so this is not a Terry stop because I approached the officer. But the other day when the cops were called on you, when you were initially called out and the cops come and they say, I was literally having a cup of coffee at Starbucks, and then is that the beginning of a Terry stop?
Well, it could be if I had come up to you and contacted you or asked you a question or something, but I didn't. I was simply walking, you contacted me.
Okay, so even though the cops were called on me and he came there, and then after he came there, because you didn't initiate contact with me, because I said hello to you first, because you walked right up to me and I said, I said, officer, you should charge her with making a false police report. Remember this?
I didn't know you were the person they called on.
Yeah.
I just walked across.
Right. So he just walked up, and then I was like, let me turn this off. And then I was like, so this is a Terry stop, and he said, no, this is not a Terry stop. So what is that then? If you guys get a call for service, and then you come and you investigate me, what's that called?
Well, I was investigating you. So now you're talking about 2 different things. You're talking about what happened the other day, or you're talking about a hypothetical. If I came...
I'm talking about the other day when you get a call.
The other day I did not come up to you and ask you questions, talk to you, start investigating anything. I was simply walking. You made contact with me.
Right.
Then you said this is a terrorist stop.
Yeah, because people wanted to hear what you had to say.
Yep,
they were like, let him talk. And I was like, okay, so maybe I should give him an opportunity to talk. So when does a Terry stop begin? When does a Terry stop begin?
Okay. I'm not going to get into a hypothetical.
No, I'm just asking you as an officer.
With you?
You know, there's no hypothetical. I'm just asking you if you can tell me.
I'm not going to get into that with you.
You're not going to tell me when a Terry stop begins, so that people, because everybody wants to know about Terry.
I'm not going to get into a debate with you about hypothetical situations.
No, educate me. This isn't a debate.
Okay.
You're you educate me. You tell me. You're the officer. You've sworn an oath to the Constitution. You're the one dressed up. But so when does a Terry stop?
You told me you're a constitutional scholar.
I am, but they're not. But they're not. There's thousands of people watch. They're not, and they want to know from you.
I don't know what people are talking about, and I'm not here to get into a debate about hypothetical situations about Terry stops.
There's no debate. There's no debate.
Okay.
I'm literally asking you to explain to people who are watching what a Terry stop.
What we talked about the other day.
So you don't.
Do you have any other questions about that?
No, I just want to know if you would explain to people watching what a Terry stop actually is. What is a Terry stop? When does a Terry stop begin? I can't say it from your perspective. I can say it from a constitutional law scholar's perspective, but not from yours. You're on the street, boots on the street. I just wanted to see if you would tell the people, if you could tell me what a Terry stop is in your own words. There's no debate. I'm not going to tell you right or wrong.
I'm not here to get into providing content for you or whatever you're trying to do.
Okay.
So,
You're not providing content for me. This is the interaction between the people and the public. This is and the less you guys interact with us. Look, I'm coming to you nice today. When the cops aren't called on me, dude, I'll come to you respectfully and nice.
Okay.
When the cops come out for service against me for having a coffee in an open foyer, then I'm like, hey, I'm going to be aggressive, right?
Okay.
Because I don't want to have to answer to people. But the interaction we're having now is an opportunity for us to close the gap, because as you guys know, it's going like shit. It's not going good, right? The overall sentiment, I mean, these guys haven't said a word. I mean, you guys, if you didn't have those uniforms on, we might be able to play a game of 2-on-2 basketball. But while you're in this uniform, I mean, it's just a stoic, no interaction. Like, I'm asking you for information to give the general public. I'm not calling you names. I'm not challenging you. No debate. I literally have thousands of people who...
But I talked to you like 3 days ago.
Right.
And you were challenging, calling names, doing all this.
I didn't call you names. I didn't call you names.
Well, I would say coward is a name.
Well, if you investigate someone for a coffee, that's.
Okay, we could get into semantics.
No, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to. Okay. I recognized you. I was like, oh my God, that's the same cop. Okay. Let me run up and let him know that when he doesn't come out to investigate me, I'm not going to be quite as harsh on him. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you're a human being, and you got a lot of sympathetic comments. People said, he seemed like a nice guy. You didn't give him a chance to speak. Okay. And so when I saw you just now, I was like, let's.
Nice guy.
Yeah, I mean.
You don't believe it, but that's okay.
I mean, have you put on handcuffs for 10 minutes before?
I'd say tyrant. I'd say that's a name too.
Tyrant?
Yeah, you call me that several times.
Well, do you put handcuffs on people before they become guilty?
No, you just said you didn't call me names.
But tyrant's not a name. It's if
I disagree.
You think that's a name?
Get into the semantics of it, but sure.
When you put handcuffs on people,
you're labeling somebody something like you're a tyrant, you're a coward. I'd call that. It doesn't matter.
No, all right. All right. Listen, people wanted to hear you speak, not me. So I wanted to give you the opportunity to speak without, insulting you or having a back and forth with you or being aggressive towards you. As you can see, I'm in my blue loafers. I'm not, I'm not dressed for war here. You know what I'm saying? I don't have any packs on and all that stuff. But this interaction with you guys, I mean, at least you stood here and talked to me, so I got to give you credit for that. Do you know what I mean? But we have to have more interactions where the public understands what you're doing as your job, because otherwise the disconnect is so. How's it going? How's it going? How's policing in America going? Are you enjoying your job, or is it you're enjoying what you do? Yeah. It's going nice for you too. People are nice to you all the time now, or are people more aggressive?
Always nice to me.
People are always nice to you?
I said I wouldn't say people are always nice to me, but it's going fine.
Right. I don't have anything against you personally as a human being. I just feel like we have such a disconnect right now between the people and the public that the reason I came out and I started teaching con law to thousands of people was because this interaction we're having is so contrite. It's so difficult. It's so arduous. And so I wanted to try to make that better. But if you don't tell people what a Terry stop is, then they don't know how you see it.
I'm not going to get into that with you.
All right, but if someone calls 911 and says, hey, there's a guy in the parking lot, that's not a Terry stop.
If somebody calls 911, is the call item?
Is that an immediate Terry stop? Is that a Terry stop immediately?
When somebody makes a phone call, again, look, I'm not going to.
I'm not getting into these
hypotheticals.
It's not hypothetical, dude.
You're
not going to be in trouble. You're not going to be in trouble for anything.
Okay, I'm not going to get into that.
When you get a 911 call, is that a Terry stop?
I'm not going to get into that.
Is that? I mean, I need you to tell me. I need you to tell me the law.
I'm not doing that. Okay.
You got to give him credit. His name's Officer DeSpain. He's a Tempe police officer. So give him credit for standing here and having a conversation. All right, dude. Take care.
Thank you for.
Yeah, I came back to talk. I saw you and I was like, that's the same guy. So I ran up to have her
today.
Dude, of course, if the cops aren't called on me, dude, I'm pretty gregarious. I'm pretty likable. I don't want to have a fight with you. You look like a nice guy to me, but we have to have the conversation. And you guys should interact with the public more. You should have more of these street conversations where we learn from each other. I can tell you what they're saying, and then you can tell me what they're saying, and then somehow we can meet and get something good out of it instead of the disconnect.
Okay.
No?
Yeah, I hear you.
No?
I hear you.
Why are you so unwilling, though?
Oh, because I'm not going to get into these.
No, you're not on camera. I'm on camera. But why are you so unwilling to have that educational conversation? Why don't you tell the public if there's a 911 call, is that a Terry stop?
Because I don't believe that you're trying to do an educational.
Dude, that's all I do. Did you watch my channel? Delete laws, dude. Go watch my channel. All I do is educate about the law, like long lectures about law.
Some of it's based on our interaction the other day. I talked about that a little bit already. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
okay.
If it's
okay, I tried.
That's where I'm coming from.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Have a good one.
Be safe. Later, guys. Peace. It just so happened I was down here going to court, and for the traffic ticket I got in Tempe at Rural and University, and I was down here at the courthouse, and I when I came out of the courthouse, exact same cop. I saw the exact same cop. And so I went up to him to talk to him, and you guys just saw how that went. He didn't really want to have a conversation with me. I guess I lambasted him pretty good. Called him a tyrant. You know, hey, it's not personal. It's just, you know, you decided to make a decision that affects all of us, and I'm not gonna sit silently and just, you know, remember, I've been run roughshod over by these cops lots of times when I didn't know my rights and I didn't know how to flex my rights. You know, I got beat up. I literally got beat up by cops. They beat me up. A few times. Not once or twice. More than 3. I've been beaten up by police where they're punching me and kicking me, and, you know, I've experienced that. And so when you experience that, it really switches your head about, you know, the importance of knowing your rights. You know, remember, and people contact me all the time and they're like, send me your CV. Guys, I don't have a CV. I was no-knock rated by the cops. As soon as I got no-knock rated, I began to study the law, to learn the law. And my curriculum vitae is, I'm from the school of hard knocks. I picked up a book and started learning, and no, it was the internet then, it was 2002. But I began my research in 2002 after I was no-knock rated. That's how I know all this stuff. I literally just picked up, turn on the internet, and I said, how can the cops no-knock raid my house with no crime? And that began my study. And then over the pandemic, when we had all that time, I really just went absolutely insane in the Federalist Papers and Spirit of Laws, and in the Anti-Federalist Papers, which I still haven't finished yet. I got to finish the Anti-Federalist Papers. You know, but that's the reason why I've learned all these things, is because you know, I was attacked and beaten up and no-knock raided by cops, and that's what made me who I am today, you know. And isn't it so ironic? I saw that same cop and I walked right up to him, and he was all right, I guess. I mean, he was okay, I guess. But the other day I really tore him a new asshole. So, you know, I'm sure he's going to be a little bit bitter buds with me. You know what I'm saying? Because I really tore him apart, you know, because I don't want to be investigated unless I've broken the law and committed probable cause. Probable cause is when you have broken the law. So, you know, but you could see, you know, look, you know, and I need to take a mental note of that. And I think we should all take a note of it. You know, look at the state that I put him in, right? He was defensive. He was, I mean, cops are that way anyway, right? Cops are that way anyway, but he was defensive and he didn't want to talk. And I was surprised to even stop for a second, because I had tore him apart the other day. I tore that guy apart, you know, because I don't want to be investigated, right? When he got down there, you know, I should have given him a chance to let the situation ripen, but he did walk up to me and tell me that I was trespassed. He walked up to me and said that I was trespassed, didn't he? He did walk up and say that you are trespassed, right? I mean, that is what he did, right? He did do that. He walked up to me and said, you're being trespassed from this location. So he did do that. We got to keep in mind, he was acting as an authoritarian in those minutes. He was acting as an authoritarian. But you guys just saw a second ago, he did not want to interact. I mean, and I kind of had to force him into it. So, but he didn't want to answer. So let me answer for you guys, because I do know the law. When the police are called on you for service, that's not service. That's a Terry stop. That's a Terry stop. I don't care what that cop just said. I know the Constitution. I know Terry v. Ohio. I know your rights. I know what they are inside and out. When a cop interacts with you, it is a Terry stop. When he is calling you and saying, hey, you're being trespassed from this location, what is that then? What is that interaction? And, we need to truly investigate trespass laws, because I need to find out the actual origins of, I know origins of trespass are going to go all the way back to Jean-Jacques Rousseau in the Social Contract. In the Social Contract, in the books that Rousseau wrote, he wrote that as soon as man established private property, it then immediately created a class system. And this is Jean-Jacques Rousseau's writings in the Social Contract. And he said in his book, when he developed the Social Contract, because remember, Thomas Hobbes is going to write the first edition, the first rendition, the first pass at the Social Contract. But then Jean-Jacques Rousseau, he's going to come around, I believe he's going to be 1712 to 1778, somewhere in there. My years are always a little funky because I'm not classical smart here. So Jean-Jacques Rousseau, he's going to live 10 years before the French Revolution starts. He dies. And so Rousseau writes in the Social Contract that private property, and remember, Rousseau is piggybacking or stepladdering on John Locke. Rousseau is also piggybacking and stepladdering on top of Thomas Hobbes. Now, Thomas Hobbes' edition of the Social Contract is extraordinarily rough. Extraordinarily rough. He sees man as a very brutish bear that is difficult and murderous. That's how Thomas Hobbes sees man. Whereas when you talk about Jean-Jacques Rousseau sees man in a totally different light. Jean-Jacques Rousseau sees man as the most sensitive of all creatures on earth. And I gave this talk a few weeks ago. I took the video down because at the end it got political and I don't want to go into politics. But Jean-Jacques Rousseau said that mankind is the most sensitive of all beings on earth because we have tear ducts and we cry and we show empathy and we weep for others who we don't know. You can go to a sad movie and watch a movie and empathize with another person's human struggle and feel distress and pain and sorrow and even weep for that person. When someone dies who is a human being, we gather around that person and we weep and we cry and we tell stories about that person's life. And so Rousseau had a different position on what man was and is, and he believed that the family orientation and nature should be two of the most paramount things in a man's life, that he should surround himself in family and in nature. And he often talked about going off into the middle of nowhere and just thinking in the wilderness. He had a perception of man that was this. I challenge any of you to just go online and put Jean-Jacques Rousseau and read some of his quotes alone. One of the most beautiful thinkers ever. And then in his personal life, he abandoned his 5 children to an orphanage. He had to flee from town to town to town, because when you are a super advanced thinker, when you are able to hold cognitive dissonance in your mind, simpletons can't understand you. And for that reason, I don't live in a small town, because in a small town, I have a lot of problems, because I can hold the idea in my mind that the police are tyrants, and then I can also sit down and have a beer with that cop. I can hold in my mind that racism is disgusting, and then sit down with someone who says that they're racist and have a conversation, have dinner, and talk to that person. And so when you have simple ideas, simple people can follow that. When you have complex ideas, simple people cannot follow complex ideas, and they therefore think that you are fraudulent because they can't understand cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is when you're going to hold two different ideas in your mind that are diametrically opposed. Like I said, I'm from a very small town in Alaska. My town is not racist. I was not raised racist by my family at all whatsoever. As a matter of fact, my aunt and uncle, who had a large hand in raising me, and my grandma, we adopted the only black kid in my town, and racism was not tolerated in my home at all whatsoever. But however, in an all-white town, I did have some friends whose parents were oil workers or fishermen, and they didn't know any black people, and they espoused this open racist idea. And then I was friends with some of those guys in high school and junior high school, were the same friends growing up my whole life. I'm still friends with those people, and I'm not going to get rid of them. I love those people. I love them. Yeah, they say that they're racist until there's a black guy around, and they're not so racist anymore, are they? They just don't know any black people. So, but what I'm trying to get to help you guys understand is cognitive dissonance. When you talk about Jean-Jacques Rousseau's social contract, and you read about the enlightenment of man and how Jean-Jacques Rousseau has this glowing view of man, that we are the most sensitive species, that we have tear ducts and we weep and we cry and we feel depression and sorrow for other people. And then at the same time, Jean-Jacques Rousseau said that the moment private property could be established, it could be fenced off and you could put gates there. Jean-Jacques Rousseau said it creates the classist system of man, and it's going to create elitist versus the super poor, which was none of Rousseau's writings. He wasn't into that until he got to the point where private property would be a major thing. And someone asked me the other day about private property, and I wanted to talk about that just a little bit. You know, what are we seeing? What are we seeing when you talk about private property in America, right? What are you seeing, right? You're seeing that people who own private property have a vested interest in America. If you own your house, or your mama owns her house, or your dad owns his house, or you have a house in your family that's going to be passed down to the generations, if you are heir to the house that your dad or mom has, well, then you have a vested interest in your neighborhood, in the house, in the school in that neighborhood. You know, you go back and you remember, oh man, over in South, we got that house, right? So you have this vested interest. And then what we did with the 1926 case of Corrigan versus Buckley, we cut, people of color out of sharing home ownership into the family wealth. And that never got better. It never got better. It never got fixed. It never got fixed. So now when we have a real problem with communications between the races, which we do, we got a big problem. And when we have that problem that happens, you start to see Jean-Jacques Rousseau's writing come to truth, come to fruition, come to light. They come to the surface very quickly. When you have a certain group of people who are going to own private property and another group is not going to own private property, then you're going to get the term burn it down, right? And the only time I've ever said burn it down in my life is when it came to the Supreme Court. I don't want you to burn down the city. I would love to burn the Supreme Court to the ground, figuratively, of course, not in actual life. I shouldn't even say that because I don't want to get put on a terrorist watch list for just saying the Supreme Court needs to be changed. I guess burn the fundamentals of the principles of appointed people to a Supreme Court and burn that idea to the ground. So anyway, I just wanted to jump on here for a minute and because I just saw that cop. I can't believe I saw that cop. I can't believe I ran into that cop. I mean, I literally saw him, got out of his truck. I know he saw me. Because I'm not wearing the same thing, but I'm wearing this vest. Here in Arizona, if you wear a full coat, it's a little bit too hot. So I wear this vest here in Arizona. And and I saw that same cop, I guess, you know, he seemed like he was a little butthurt, didn't he? He seemed a little butthurt, didn't he? Did he seem like he was a little butthurt? A little bit, right? He seemed like he was a little bit perturbed that I had called him a tyrant. You know, maybe I need to think about that. Maybe that's not the best thing to do. But they so easily will take us to a dungeon in 2 seconds flat. That cop would have taken me to a dungeon the other day, just like that. He wouldn't have even thought twice about it. He would have taken my ass to the dungeon. Right or wrong? Is that right or is that wrong? That's right, isn't it? That's right, right? 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 Am I right or wrong? He would have taken me to the dungeon, right? If I didn't know my rights, he would have arrested me, correct? He would have arrested me. Am I wrong or right? So I want to think that maybe I should be nicer and kinder to these guys. But at the same time, man, you guys saw the handcuff test that Tawny did. You saw that. You saw that. So it's food for thought. You know, it's food for thought. I actually was just sitting here at the courthouse in Tempe. It's so funny, you know, because someone last week put on a comment. Oh, any follow up on the doc? So just so you guys know, on the doctor video, he settled out of court for $325,000. He did a settlement for $325,000. Nothing happened to Jonathan Rogers. Nothing happened to him. He didn't get any reprimand. And did you guys see on that video how that cop was walking around acting like he just had a wrestling match? Just so you know, when you wrestle or you fight in MMA, after the match is over, you'll go over and sit down with someone else who wrestles or does MMA, and you'll go, and then he hooked my heel like this, and then I rolled out of it, and then I grabbed his wrist, and I tied it behind his back. And that's how wrestlers and MMA guys will sit around and have a conversation after we have a match. You know, and I've done wrestling and fighting my entire life. So when that guy, after he destroyed that doctor, I showed it in slow motion twice. Sorry, my voice was too low. I didn't use my sound machine. I should have. But then after he beat that doctor up, suck his dog on him, he sicked the dog on him. You see the dog tearing on his calf? Just so you know, the doctor had to go through months and months of skin grafting, months and months of surgeries. The doctor had to go through months of it. So not only did the city pay his medical bills, but they also had to pay his $325,000. And so when you get to that point, you start to go, well, he's outside of what happened, and now he's talking to other guys, and he's walking around bragging like, oh man, that looked like I beat the shit out of him, don't I? It looks like I beat the shit. You did beat the shit out of him. He's a 63-year-old dude. You don't go rolling around on the ground with 63-year-old dudes. That's not how it works. That's not how you do it. That's not how you do it. And then he was walking around talking as though he was still breathing hard. like what are you talking about, dude? I do 20 sprints a day, 100 yards a sprint. I wouldn't be tired after rolling an old man over. Sorry, I wouldn't even be breathing hard. And he's literally breathing. Man, you know, I smacked him. That's where I smacked him. Dog really chewed him. If you listen to what the guy says, if you listen close, it'll just make you sick to your stomach. It'll just make you sick to your stomach. So there we are. There we are. Yeah, he didn't get fired at all. He probably, as a matter of fact, just so you guys know, when most cops kill someone or hurt someone or maim someone, or they really hurt another person, what happens is they get an award the next year. And this is ubiquitous. This is across all police stations, all across America. When a cop beats, hurts, kills someone, and then they're not charged with a crime, the very next year, and you can look this up, I guarantee you Jonathan Rogers won an award. Who thinks that he won an award? Who's gonna vote? Do you think Jonathan Rogers has won an award in the next 12 to 18 months after that? Anybody think he got an award? Does anybody think Jonathan Rogers got an award? Because I'm pretty sure that Jonathan Rogers got an award. He got an award. And then did you notice how after he's walking around breathing like, yeah, me, him, and Gunter, his dog's name is Gunter. that like he completely and utterly just bragging about his dog attacking an old man. I mean, 63 is not old, but it's old enough that where you can't be attacked by a dog, right? And then after that, the other two cops are just talking back and forth about how we don't know who this guy is. You know, he's got alcohol or drugs. And by the way, at the end, they're searching his car. Hey, Becky. Hey, M. Hall. John, how you guys doing? They're searching his car. They're searching his car, and that is South Dakota versus Opperman. When you guys saw them searching his car in the end, once he's been arrested, right, for a crime, right, then you can search his car when you impound it, and it's called inventorying the car. And that's the 1976 holding of South Dakota versus Opperman. South Dakota versus Opperman is, of course, an extension of Terry versus Ohio. Yeah. It all goes back to Terry. It all goes back to Terry versus, it always does. And then Terry goes back to, of course, Kerr and Carroll. So that's where we got to get to. So, alrighty then. Well, you know, we did run into that cop. And I gave him a chance. He said, you don't want to have a conversation. I walked up and said, no, I'm ready to have a conversation. And then he shut me down and was like, well, I'm not going to get into hypotheticals. No, just answer the question, Mr. Officer. Answer the question. Explain to the general public when you get a call on someone, is that or is that not a Terry stop? You know what? We're not done. You know that? There's other cops around here. I'm going to ask another cop. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask another cop. That's what I'm going to do. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the boys back together and get the band going, right? So, yeah. All right, guys, I'll get out of here and I will come back. I may go out and audit tonight. There's a girl here in town, Daisy, her husband. They've been hitting me up to go out and do some audits, and so I may do that tonight. Thanks you guys for coming by. I really appreciate it. Thanks for swinging by the page. And if you haven't seen that video of that dog attacking the doctor, you're welcome, M Star. Thanks for moderating for me. That dog attacking the doctor, and then the cop acting like he's some great big hero. Rousseau, Jean-Jacques Rousseau. It's Jean and then Jaqueus. Jean-Jacques Rousseau. And by the way, his name of his book is The Social Contract. You can listen to the audiobook of The Social Contract for free on YouTube. You can listen to the audiobook for free. It's on YouTube. You can get the book for free as well online. You don't have to pay for The Social Contract. And you should know what The Social Contract is. Okay? Thank you. I appreciate the kind words, guys. I'm gonna head over into Tempe here. I'm gonna go over to my Starbucks and grab a coffee. That's where I'm going right now. I'm going to the exact same Starbucks I was at the other day. Because I was not trespassed. The security guard can't dislike me and trespass me because she doesn't like me. She's not working for Chase. She's working for her own personal interests. So I'm not trespassed from Chase Bank or from the Starbucks over there. Okay? So there it is. And you know, so what do you guys think? I want to know what you guys think. Should I be nicer to these guys? You think I should be nicer? Should I be nicer? Should I be nicer to them? There's the social contract right there. M Star just posted the link for the social contract, which, by the way, guys, I listened to it myself. The exact same link she posted, I listened to. That's how I read the social contract. Driving across the country, I listened to the social contract. I learned by listening to the audiobook. You can learn it too. I'm no smarter than you. Remember, I fought MMA my whole life. You can't be a genius and get in a ring and want to fist fight people. So, should I be nicer to these guys? Should I be nicer to these cops? Is that what I should do? I mean, I saw that cop. He looked like he was just butthurt that I had called him a tyrant and treated him roughly. I'm not licking anybody's anything like that. I'm not doing anything like that. I'm not gonna compromise my moral. I'll give him a handshake even. I'll give him a fist. I'll give him a dap. You know, but I'm not in any way, shape, or form gonna pretend like I like cops, because I don't. So, but I can be nicer. If you guys are gonna learn more by me being nicer, then I'll be nicer to try to get more of an interaction. so that we can educate more. That's what this is about. This is about us learning and educating together on a large scale. That's what it's about. All right. So cool. Listen, nothing but love for you guys. Thanks for tuning in. I will see you guys. Hopefully I turn this back on in a little while. And I give a head nod. Boom. Just like that. Head nod. Head nod. All right. I'll talk to you guys soon. Talk to you soon. Later, guys. Late.